Why are you hanging on to this? Why are you hanging on to that? What is the reason? And the reason is because I was always afraid that it would disappear. You know, and one thing about preppers, and one thing about prepping that is a lie in a way, and I want to share this with you, and I'm standing out on a limb, and I hope that I don't break my limb on this one. But preppers always say, keep it, oh, keep it, because you know the end of the world is going to happen. Keep it, oh, keep it, keep all of it, because you know, things are going to get bad. You got to keep it. And you know what? You get to the point in your life where it's like, how long are we supposed to keep stuff? Keep it, keep it, keep it. And to the point where it drowns us, and we're laying there and this stuff is piling on top of us, and it's starting to be a hoarder because we're supposed to keep it because the world's going to be bad. And I got to the point where the world's going to be bad. The world's going to be bad. If it's going to be bad, I don't need to keep it, because that's not putting my faith in God. That's putting my faith in what I got. And you know what? One hurricane, one tornado, one fire, and everything's gone. We cannot put our life based upon what we think is going to happen in the future. Yes, we prepare, but we don't get to the point where, I prepped now, I am okay because nothing's going to happen to me because I got it all now. We can't ever get to that point. And I was starting to get to the point where, you know, I just had to keep everything. Oh, we will never have lighting again. Keep the candles. Oh, we're never going to have this again. Keep this. Or, oh, we're never going to be able to do this again. Keep it. And you get to the point where, oh my goodness, your life is just full of stuff. Everywhere I turned, it was stuff. And it was like, I got to the point where it was just so overwhelming. I would go to make a video. I couldn't find this stuff. I had so much of it that I was stepping over stuff and kind of rooting around here and rooting around here. And I'm being real and vulnerable this part of the video, because I want you to understand that prepping is great, but there is a downside to prepping. And the downside to prepping is that you cannot hoard so much stuff and think that you're just covered and you're taken care of. Not if you're a Christian, because you're not putting your faith in the Lord. Yes, Noah was told to prepare. Yes, people in the Bible were told to prepare. That is true, but it didn't overtake their lives. You know, the Israelites were given just enough of manna each day to sustain them. In fact, in the Bible, when it talked about the manna from heaven, they weren't allowed to hoard the manna. In fact, if they did hoard the manna, what happened to it? It would get moldy and it would disintegrate. There is a fine line between prepping, hoarding, and not focusing your life on relying on the Lord. And so, yes, I prep my food. Yes, I be good stewards of my food. Yes, I keep all of these items. But you know what? They're not my safety as far as I can't control what happens to them. You know, God is the one that's in control, and God will help take care of his people. And so there is a fine line. I crossed that line. Now, I'll be honest with you. I crossed the line. I went from being this way to the point where I couldn't get rid of anything. I couldn't get rid of, even if it was broken, I couldn't get rid of it, because I thought, well, it's broken, but hey, we can probably still do something with it. And for me, it started weighing so heavily on my shoulders that it became such a burden that I couldn't function properly, because I couldn't find things properly, because it was just so overwhelmed. And then it gets to the point where you're so overwhelmed, you don't even know where to start. So when we got that dumpster and start throwing things out, slowly the overwhelming was starting to leave me. And I'm like, okay, I can breathe now. But I understand when people hoard. They were not hoarders to start, most of them. But they hung on to things and hung on to things and hung on to things to the point where they become a hoarder, to the point because they become so overwhelmed with their things that they don't even know where to start. And that happens. And so it is a journey for me. I was never a hoarder. I'm not considered a hoarder because I knew where everything is, but I could have started becoming a hoarder. And that's the difference. So I could have went over to the hoarding side, and I was starting to get there. And then when you have grief of losing a loved one, and then when you have trauma of a lot of things in your life, and then the hoarding, it becomes an addiction and it becomes a sickness. And for me, it was becoming that way because it was things I didn't know I had. And it was becoming to the point where beyond the camera, what the camera could see, it was getting too much stuff. And it was just stuff. And it was stuff. And so this is the challenge I had. And if I spoke to somebody, one person, I'm so thankful for that. I'm not here to criticize preppers because I do prepping videos and I love prepping. I'm not here to point a finger saying, ha ha, I'm not doing this now. Now you shouldn't either. It's just a life look at me. This is me. I'm criticizing me because I knew it got too much for me. And I'm sharing these embarrassing, vulnerable points in my life because I'm hoping that it can help you. It was the weight gain. It was the not caring about me. It was the not caring about things around me to the point where it became overwhelming and a burden. And so I'm working on these things, and I'm continuing to work on these things, and you're going to continue to share my journey with me. And I still love things. My friend, my mom's best friend, who was a successful motivational speaker and author, said, you should never say you love something that can't love you back. In other words, you shouldn't say, oh, I love my candle. I love my oil lanterns, but I love my things. I love my things. I will be the first to tell you that. My things give me comfort, but through all of this, I was getting too many things, and then it was causing a burden on my life. And so when I go to my thrift stores, I'm going to really be choosy what I get. And we are going to get a few things to help me organize my things better, to keep all of that tamed down just a little bit. And so I will be prepping with food, but more prepping with food that I already have. And of course, canning food, things like that. But I just got to clear my head a little. And then I'm going to be going into social media and the clutter of social media, the clutter of all of these things. This is just the beginning, my friends. This is just the beginning. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.